In 2018, routine testing revealed a structural flaw in pharmaceutical manufacturing. Trace amounts of a toxic impurity were discovered in widely prescribed blood pressure medications. These impurities belong to the nitrosamine class, compounds established in toxicology as potent mutagenic carcinogens. At these trace levels, the potency is the central concern. Fractional amounts present a severe cumulative threat when a patient takes an affected daily medication over the course of a lifetime. The discovery triggered immediate product recalls, severe supply chain shortages, and synchronized emergency interventions from global regulators. Nitrosamine contamination is a systemic challenge. Because risk factors are embedded in shared raw materials and synthesis processes, a single contaminated source can affect dozens of products across the global supply chain. Securing the drug supply requires a shift from reactive, batch-level testing to proactive, portfolio-wide lifecycle governance. Controlling a trace-level impurity is difficult because the targets are constantly moving. Chemical categorizations, testing methodologies, and regulatory limits are revised continuously. Managing shifting variables demands a strict lifecycle-driven discipline, a methodology separating intrinsic chemical hazard from the actual risk posed to the patient. This control architecture is built in 3 layers. We identify the molecular chemistry and formation risk factors, apply toxicological limits based on global health standards, and integrate those controls directly into the quality management system. Success in this field requires accepting residual uncertainty. A negative laboratory result reduces the risk profile, but it cannot prove absolute zero risk, a core principle of the disciplined practice we will build throughout this course. Achieving safety and compliance requires treating risk assessment as a permanent, self-correcting operational state. Accurate risk assessment begins with precise chemical categorization. Different types of nitrosamines require distinct toxicological approaches. Small molecule nitrosamines, like NDMA and NDEA, have been studied for decades. Toxicologists set health limits based on robust animal carcinogicity data. NDSRIs lack these established histories, being specific to the drug's unique structure. An NDSRI forms when the API's own amine group reacts during manufacturing. Being tied to a unique molecule, there is rarely direct animal data to determine safety. To bridge this gap, toxicologists rely on structure-based tools. They use the carcinogenic potency categorization approach, or CPCA, alongside the enhanced Ames test to assign an interim safety limit based on the molecule's structural features. Explicitly distinguishing between a small molecule nitrosamine and an NDSRI is essential. Treating them as the same will invalidate a product's toxicological risk assessment. Once a molecule is categorized, we must categorize its intrinsic properties from the actual threat it poses to humans. Hazard is the intrinsic mutagenic potential of the substance, a static molecular property. A highly hazardous substance remains dangerous regardless of the dosage level. Exposure is the volume of that impurity that reaches the patient over a specific duration. When the exposure is minimized through process control, the actual patient risk drops to a negligible level. Evaluating exposure requires analytical discipline. In the lab, we use LOD, the limit of detection, and LOQ, the limit of quantitation. These terms describe the physical capability of the laboratory equipment to see and measure a substance. Analytical limits are distinct from health limits. The health-based threshold is the acceptable intake, or AI. This value dictates the safe biological limit for a patient, independent of how sensitive the measuring equipment happens to be. Detecting a hazardous trace impurity is an analytical trigger for investigation, but the patient risk is determined solely by whether prolonged exposure exceeds the health-based acceptable intake. Acceptable intakes are live variables. Testing thresholds and regulatory limits are revised frequently as new toxicological evidence emerges. Because these values change, you must state 4 attributes with every acceptable intake: the source, publication date, jurisdiction, and the specific compound. Every limit must be verified against live registers before use. This verification is necessary because the regulatory landscape is fragmented across different regions. In the United States, the FDA provides a 3-step control framework based on risk assessment, confirmatory testing, and reporting. This is jurisdiction-specific, non-binding guidance. In the EU, the EMA operates under the Article 5 Sub 3 referral framework. While it shares a risk-based logic with other regulators, it applies strictly to the European market. For a harmonized baseline, the industry relies on ICH M7. This is the adopted international standard for the assessment and control of mutagenic impurities. A global product strategy must dynamically satisfy the distinct, evolving standards of every relevant regional market. There is a common misconception regarding the initial regulatory call for review deadlines, spanning 2020 to 2025. These past deadlines are historical milestones. They do not mark the end of the safety obligation. The actual requirement is a living, perpetual obligation to evaluate manufacturing processes and update marketing authorizations immediately when any unnotified nitrosamines are discovered. Treating an expired regulatory deadline as a closed obligation creates a severe blind spot, exposing the manufacturer to compliance action and the patient to unmonitored risk. Defending against nitrosamines requires interlocking accountability across the entire supply chain. Active substance manufacturers must identify process risk factors in their synthesis and notify downstream partners of any material changes. Analytical laboratories develop and validate the sensitive testing protocols required to measure these trace-level impurities. The marketing authorization holder acts as the central hub, integrating data from upstream suppliers into a single safety profile. Nitrosamine management is embedded directly into existing quality system machinery. Deviations in CAPAs trigger automatic feedback loops, forcing a recalculation of the risk position. The effectiveness of a control strategy lies in its agility. A robust program relies on quality systems that react immediately to changes in suppliers, processes, or emerging scientific data. This course maintains a strict safety boundary. Whitehall training teaches the prevention and control of risk factors, but we will never provide synthetic instructions or recipes that form nitrosamines. This commitment to safety is the first of our 8 discipline rules. These rules serve as the operational bedrock for the following modules, ensuring your risk assessments are scientifically and legally defensible. You will apply these rules to the Helix Farm case study, a fictional portfolio used to practice interpreting acceptable intakes, managing CAPAs, and executing regulatory variations. The course provides practical templates, including risk matrices and lifecycle dashboards, designed to be adapted directly into your own quality system. Completion of this program confirms advanced training and CPD recognition, but it does not constitute independent scientific or legal authorization to act alone. To earn the certification, you must maintain strict informational hygiene, embrace a verify before use culture, and pass the final assessment with an 80% benchmark. Let's begin Module 1.